Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So in this video, I am Ahmad Amal and my group members Farah Yuni, Umul Husna and Asrul Barul Afkar will explain how COVID-19 impact to the airline industry, which is what issue arise and what is solution for that. Okay, since COVID-19 pandemic, airline industry players has highlighted that the current travel bans and plummeting demand around the world have put loss-making carrier at a risk of bankruptcy. All three Malaysian major airlines, namely AirAsia, Malindo Air and Malaysia Airlines, have initiated salary cut range from 10% to 100% and unpaid leave depending on the salary range and position. Nevertheless, the airline industry faces gravest crisis when the government of China denied of foreigners effective from 29 March 2020 until the further notice. The drastic loss of both revenue and profit for all three major Malaysian-based airlines, which has resulted in a high risk of bankruptcy, has caused the airline to ask the government of Malaysia to step in to provide support to the airline industry.
I am going to talk about unemployment, which is one of the problem that airline industry are facing during the pandemic. In Asia Pacific, there are around 11.2 million people who are working in the aviation industry that become unemployed as the result of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the International Air Transport Association, IATA statistics, approximately 25 million people who are employed in the aviation industry may lose their job as a result of reduction in demand for travel during the COVID-19 pandemic. And across the world, there are 65.5 million people whose life are dependent on the airlines industry, which include people who are employed in the tourism industry. As the result of decrease in travel spending by the customers and lack of purchase by businesses during the pandemic, the airlines industry decided to cut down on its expenses to a great extent. As the result, the pilots, flight attendants, baggage handler and other people who are employed in the airline industry are losing their job securities. This is because the airline industries generate their income from customers in different locations and to be brought into the local market, which in other also create other local jobs. For example, jobs in tourism industry, hotel industry and resort, etc. If there are high numbers of unemployment in the aviation industry, it would lead to it would generate high losses in the income for the industry.
In the week of April 27, 2020, the worldwide airline industry saw passenger numbers plummet by nearly 67% over the previous year as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. To help the aviation industry, governments around the world have stated several solutions to overcome the following problems. The first solution is that government assistance and efforts demonstrate the importance and strategic nature of the aviation industry. In 2020, the global aviation industry is expected to suffer losses worth $411.0 billion from the COVID-19 outbreak. The impact of the downturn in this industry has created a need for the government to provide assistance in the form of appropriate allocation. This assistance demonstrates the importance of the aviation industry in helping to connect the people of the world as well as carry out important economic activities. Among the forms of government assistance are deferral or waiver of fee payments, subsidies, equity investment, loans and road support. The next solution is that the deferment of waiver of fee payment is a measure to alleviate the burden of the airline's cash flow problem, while The deferral or exemption of fee payment and the imposition of subsidies are beneficial in the short term. Operators and the government may experience cash flow problem if the assistance are continued in the long term. The Commission supports the provision of specific subsidies to employees as the subsidies are intended to protect them. In this case, the responsible party should ensure that the impact of the fund provided is received by the appropriate parties.
In conclusion, the aviation industry was not prepared for the impact of COVID-19 and was one of the worst affected industries across the globe. This research study investigates the impact of the pandemic on the global air traffic and revenue by the region of air travel operation and how COVID-19 affected the number of international and domestic passengers in different route groups across the world. The findings reveal that the world passenger traffic declined negative 16%, which is exceptional in the history of air travel. To better understand the impact of COVID-19 on international travel, a detailed past analysis was done. The results suggested that the governments of different nations understood the risk of COVID-19 and made a tough restriction to avoid the spread of the coronavirus. As the economy of the airline industry was decreased drastically, most of the government intervened and offered economic support to the airlines operating in the airspace. The COVID-19 pandemic reduced the social relationship due to travel restriction and social distancing. These measures were proposed to protect the people, but they also had some negative impact on the social life, which in turn affected their health. Regarding technological factors, government tried to identify the super spreader of the virus through the contact tracing, while airlines and airports used the latest technology to disinfect and sanitize the aircraft and airports. The present research also details how data analysis will help the airline industry during the global pandemic situation and presented potential clarifications for the outcomes. This will help the airline industry to recover and also provide some social support to the people. Moreover, as the pandemic is still ongoing and new variants are emerging, the industry needs long-term business support for the organizational success and its survival. So it is important to transform the organization to adapt to the changes quickly, which needs strong agile leadership.